Watch the trend, big up the trend, T-R-E-N-D. Big up the trend for education, teachers and the students. A fully bright future, yes, that are the new trend. Better governance, partner with the parents. Follow the big trend, elevate the youth them. Improve the schools, track performance, access and attendance. From infant, primary to university students. Turn up the skills training, full steam, we are getting. Follow the big trend, elevate the schools, yeah. Watch the trend, pick up the trend. This are the trend for all the youths them. Watch the trend, big up the trend, T-R-E-N-D. Promote technology, yes, and better planning, quality education, that's what should be trending. From principals to EOs, everybody winning. Follow the ministry, we're changing the system. Watch the trend, pick up the trend.
This is Trend, Transforming Education for National Development, a program designed by the Ministry of Education and Youth to transform Jamaica's education system for a brighter tomorrow.
Always before our eyes, laying aside all private interest, prejudices, and partial affections. The result of all our counsels may be to the glory of thy blessed name, the maintenance of true religion and justice, the safety, honor, and happiness of the king, the public weal, peace and tranquility of the island, and the uniting and knitting together of the hearts of all persons and estates within the same, in true Christian love and charity one towards another. Through Jesus Christ our Lord. Amen.
You may be seated. Members, let me once again welcome you to another sitting of the House today, being Tuesday, November 28, 2023. Let me also welcome those who have joined us here in the House of Parliament and those joining us on the various social media platforms. Call of the roll.
Mr. Clark? Here. Mr. Bartlett? Mr. Holness? Dr. Clark? Dr. Chang? Ms. Green? Dr. Chang? Ms. Grange? Mr. McKenzie? Mr. Chuck? Mr. Dr. Tufton? Mrs. Williams? Mr. Vaz? Mrs. Malahoo Forte, Mr. Charles, Mr. Green, Mr. Morgan, Mr. Warmington. Mr. Morgan, he's here. Mr. Main, Mrs. Cuthbert Flynn, Mr. Terrelonge, Dr. Dunn, Mr. Hutchinson, Mr. Witter, Ms. Smith, Mr. Davis, Mr. Brown, Dr. Brown-Burke, Dr. Charles, Mr. Chin, Mr. Cousins, Ms. Crawford, Ms. Daly, Ms. Davis, Mr. Golding, Mr. Graham, Dr. Guy, Ms. Hamilton, Ms. Hannah, Mr. Henriquez, Mr. Henry, Mr. Hilton, Mr. Jackson, Mr. Lawrence, Ms. Lee, Mr. Miller, Mr. Montague, Ms. Morrison, Mrs. Nita Garvey, Mr. Paulwell, Mr. Phillips, Dr. Phillips, Mr. Robertson, Mr. Robinson, Mr. Samuda, Mr. Shaw, Mr. Siblist, Mr. Slowly, Mrs. Vaz, Dr. Wheatley, Mr. Williams, Mr. Wilson, Mr. Wright.
House Leader.
Madam Speaker, I now ask for the suspension of the standing orders to allow us to go to public business and receive 3 presentations under the state of constituency debate at this time.
Those in favor? Those in favor? Those against? The ayes have it. House Leader.
Madam Speaker, the presentations will be made by the Honourable Marlene Malahoo Forte, MP St. James West Central, Minister of Legal and Constitutional Affairs. She'll be followed by the Honourable Robert Nesta Morgan, MP Clarendon North Central, Minister with our portfolio in the Office of the Prime Minister, and Honourable Alando Terrelonge, MP St. Catherine East Central, Minister of State in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you, House Leader. Honourable Minister Malahoo Forte, Member of Parliament for St. James West Central.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, as you know, Standing Order 32C provides that a state of constituency debate shall take place in the 3rd quarter of each year prior to the budget call. All members, including yourself as Speaker, are entitled to speak in the state of constituency debate. But first, the opportunity to speak is given to members who are not ministers. Madam Speaker, the state of constituency debate is therefore meant to provide information to the ministries, departments, and agencies about budget priorities on important issues affecting the constituencies. It would stand to reason, Madam Speaker, that the agencies of government that are directly involved in the implementation of work in the constituency would be present in the House. But that really has not been how we have used the state of constituency debate. It has instead been used as a report card. But I know that as Speaker, you are keen on ensuring that what is provided for in the standing orders, that we move in that direction. And so my first call is to ensure that in the next round of constituency debate, that the agencies of government are present to ensure that when they prepare their budgets, they take into account the issues that require funding in the various constituencies, issues that have been raised. Madam Speaker, St. James West Central is a diverse constituency. There is no single representational style that suffices. There are some who are only interested in their roads, light and water. There are those who are interested in employment. There are those who are interested in controlling crime and violence. But increasingly, I find a large number of constituents are interested in the policies of the government and want to hear in details what the government is doing to address long-standing problems and what the government is doing to ensure that the machinery of government works better and can deliver more effectively and more efficiently. Like all seats, Madam Speaker, some will be pleased and others will not. But I am proud to say that St. James West Central remains strong. Some of my constituents tell me that it's taking them time to get used to my style of politics because, as one has said to me, that I prefer to work in the background, and sometimes they prefer a politician who is right there up in their face with a lot of excitement. It doesn't matter how much time I spend in the seat, they want to see more of me. And they take no consolation in that those of us who also have executive duties spend a lot of time on issues that impact them directly. Madam Speaker, I do, however, feel a sense of accomplishment as I assess the progress that has been made in the space since my election to this Honourable House as the Member of Parliament. I believe, Madam Speaker, St. James in general and St. James West Central in particular has been the beneficiary of the programs and policies of the government. And as you go right across the parish, you can see just how much the space has been transformed. You can see how much the lives of the people have been improved. And I'm pleased to be part of the very strong St. James contingent in this Honourable House and also in the Executive. My not immediate neighbour, the Deputy Prime Minister, provides much support, but in St. James West Central, we work as a team. My immediate neighbour, the Deputy Speaker, and I, we share areas. So, Madam Speaker, since many expect a report card, permit me to spend a little time to tell you what has been accomplished in the seat. Madam Speaker, starting with roads, I think all of us who have spoken have reported the concerns about roads. Interestingly, in St. James West Central, not every segment of the seat is primarily occupied with roads. But as you know, there are many communities where the roads have not been fixed in decades. Decades, they have not been maintained at all. And the approach I took in St. James West Central was to start with the worst roads. And so to date, Madam Speaker, I can report that over 60 roads have been fixed. And believe it or not, it's nowhere near adequate. Among the 60, I can name in the electoral division of Spring Garden. We had work done in Waverwalk, but since then, some of it has eroded because of the heavy rains, and the rains come more frequently. But when the work in Waverwalk was done, the residents said 40 years before they had not seen the road rehabilitated. Part of Shalom Valley, but work still remains to be done there. In Wilshire, rains have washed it away, more work to be done. Kentucky, Belmont, Jack Top, the Reading Main Road, Bogue Heights, Malcolm Drive, Lagoon View, Boyne Hill, Wales Pond, in the community of Catherine Hall, Coconut Loop, Star Apple, Boulevard, Sea Grape Avenue, June Plum Road, Breadfoot Lane, in Unity Hall, the main road to Riney Drive, but there is still the top and bottom of Riney Drive. And when I consulted with the Unity Hall constituents. They tell me that there are still some areas that need to be fixed. And Madam Speaker, I do have a constituent from Riley Drive Unity Hall in this Honourable House. And since the Prime Minister made the announcement of the road programme, I have been consulting. But I've been consulting before, Madam Speaker, because I am on record of saying that every year there has to be an assessment by the authorities responsible for maintaining our roads. Constituency by constituency, community by community, the road and other community infrastructure must be assessed. And so, Madam Speaker, I have to tell you that although 60+ roads have been fixed in the constituency, I now have a list of over 30. And constituents have been providing photographs. When I ask, for example, in the Bogue village community about the roads that require rehabilitation, I'm already at a list of 16, Madam Speaker. They tell me Emerald Place, Horizon Avenue, Marlene Avenue, Aquamarine Avenue East, Driftwood Avenue, Abalone Circle. Work was already done on Abalone Circle, but they're saying taxis refuse to drive there now. Scallop Avenue, Atlantis Crescent, Sandpiper Place, Sail Place, Starfish Road, Sandy Avenue, Bogue Heights Drive, Octopus Drive, Pelican Street. These are roads in just one of the over 50 communities in St. James West Central, Madam Speaker. So we have made progress, but there is still a lot to be done. I'm pleased to report that as I speak, work is taking place on the Montego Bay to Great Road. This is a main road between St. James and Hanover. And so under the SPARK program, the road work is now taking main road. And this is the road that takes people to the cemetery. Madam Speaker, it has been in a deplorable state, but I'm pleased to say that the funds are in place, the contract has been secured, and the work is to be done. There is also the Long Hill Main Road, Madam Speaker, which is a place for frequent accident. Long Hill is used between Westmoreland and St. James. And recently, we have had too many accidents from careless driving, but also because of the state of the road in a particular area where there is a breakaway. I'm pleased to report that work is slated for that area, and as soon as the work is completed on the Montego Bay to Great River, the contractors will move over to Long Hill. Madam Speaker, the Fairfield to Irwin Road is perhaps the biggest sore point in the Mount Salem division of the constituency. The contract went for tender, and the tender period closed on November 15, and I am awaiting from the Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation the details about the contractor and the start of that road work. Madam Speaker, there is Gutters to Main Road, where this will be a CDF project, and that has already been approved, and the work is to start shortly. There is also Cashel Grove and West Avenue in the Irwin Belt, where funds have been diverted from what was initially slated for Pega Road to commence rehabilitation there. So, Madam Speaker, all in all, in spite of the genuine concerns of the people, I'm pleased to say it is not anywhere as bad as when I came into the constituency. And the only way to prevent frustration from setting in is to measure progress. And when you go on the road, the progress is real. But you know, for those who are waiting for their community road to be fixed, it really doesn't matter to them who else, which other community road has been fixed. I say to them, keep the faith, because the budget allocation has been made. It will not be done all at once, but we can mark the progress, and we are moving in the right direction. Madam Speaker, I want to move to the issue of water. I reported in a previous presentation to the House that water woes abound in St. James. The complaints have been about poor and unreliable supplies, and those complaints, Madam Speaker, are constant. And when I did the research, the last time any upgrade was done to the water infrastructure in St. James was in the 1998. That's some 24 years ago. And, Madam Speaker, there is sufficient water in the parish, but it has not been distributed regularly. And, Madam Speaker, the infrastructure is decadent. I am, however, pleased to say, Madam Speaker, that commitments have been made. What has happened, Madam Speaker, is like St. James, like so many other parishes, have had several housing developments. And though the increasing the housing stock is positive, what it has done is to put the existing infrastructure under pressure. And I think nowhere else is this evident than with water. The infrastructure is old and it is inadequate. And that is why I was happy to hear the Prime Minister's announcement when he came to St. James and had the town hall. He announced the plans to upgrade the water transmission lines from Martha Brae all the way to Bloody Bay. So starting in Terrelonge, coming through St. James, onto Hanover, and over to Westmoreland, Madam Speaker. And the cost of this is an estimated $209 million US. This will no doubt have a positive impact on the citizens. But you know, Madam Speaker, while we wait for this major upgrade, there are small projects which can alleviate much of the pressure on small clusters within the constituency. And though the coordination between the NWA, the National Works Agency, and the National Water Commission is much improved, I believe, Madam Speaker, it is time to apply that same coordination to projects funded by the Municipal Corporation and even those funded through the Constituency Development Fund to ensure that we do not have disruptions to the newly paved roads. Madam Speaker, my constituents have been patient, but believe me, they have not been quiet. The challenges with the water distribution, those challenges are frustrating. They're really frustrating, Madam Speaker. And I know if I were in their shoes, I probably would complain louder than they are complaining. But I am comforted by the knowledge that there is a commitment to invest in improving the infrastructure and to resolve these issues. And, Madam Speaker, the work will be done on a phased basis. And if all goes to plan, then over the next 36 months, we should eliminate most of the water problem in St. James, Madam Speaker. Constituents continue to ask for help. I think all members of Parliament provide help. To date, Madam Speaker, for the reporting period, over 1,200 needy constituents have benefited from assistance through my CDF programs and through programs from the Ministry of Labour and Social Security. They have received assistance for medical purposes, funeral expenses, poverty alleviation, and most importantly, Madam Speaker, for food and care items. Is the education support program. reporting period, 220 needy students who attend pre-primary, primary, secondary, and tertiary institutions were assisted with back to school and tuition support. Additional 276 students benefited from the back to school and tuition support program in the summer. We also totaling just under 500 in the constituency. Madam Speaker, in the schools where there are threats of deregistration, some have been deregistered, to put another perspective to the institutions. Thankfully, Madam Speaker, all of the pleas have resulted.
You'll always remember that day you became a parent. That day, you made yourself a promise to provide for them, to protect them, laugh with them, watch them learn, and let them grow. That day, you realized your biggest challenge lies in bringing them up in a world full of choices. That day, you knew they would grow up fast, and the innocence you cherish wouldn't last. That day, you made up your mind that no matter how things change, you would always take the time to give them parental guidance. That day is today.
Remember, parental controls are available for all devices. A reminder from the Broadcasting Commission.
Let's be clear. Tobacco use is associated with several cancers, lung and heart-related diseases. Smoking harms nearly every organ in the human body and contributes to impotence, impaired vision, bad breath, discolored fingernails, and teeth. E-cigarettes, e-cigs, or electronic nicotine delivery systems, ENDS, can be just as harmful. Many of the e-liquids in e-cigarettes contain nicotine, which is addictive and toxic. Nicotine use can also disrupt adolescent brain development. Early use of e-cigarettes also increases the likelihood of tobacco addiction in later years and can result in a graduation to even more dangerous substances. Besides nicotine, some e-cigarettes contain other harmful substances, including heavy metals like lead, volatile organic compounds, cancer-causing chemicals, and tiny particles that penetrate deep into the lungs. E-cigs, whether they contain nicotine or not, can also cause injuries from fires and explosions from batteries. Children and adults have been poisoned by swallowing, breathing, or absorbing e-cigarette liquid through their skin or eyes. The proposed Tobacco Control Act seeks to protect Jamaica's youth from use and exposure to tobacco smoke, nicotine, and other harmful substances. Let us give the next generation a chance to live and breathe easily. I am Denise Bingham, and I'm from the National Council on Drug Abuse.
From the Ministry of Education under the TPDCO, and we have done one of these projects in the Spring Garden Fishing Village area. The upgrade is in the tune of $3 million. Madam Speaker. And you'd have to really just go and see the difference that it makes when the infrastructure is upgraded and the fishing villages are made clean and modern, Madam Speaker. We also had 45 small businesses within the constituency that are identified for assistance under the Jamaica 60 project. In fact, it has been completed. And so I say that the constituency benefits a lot from the wider programs in government. And while constituents may not always see an MP who has a ministerial role, what they need to understand is that we are collectively responsible for the decisions. When each ministry comes with their programs, we discuss the programs, we ensure that the particular needs of the people as we see them are met through the programs. And that is how we collectively serve the people, Madam Speaker. I'm very, very pleased to see how much the constituents of St. James West Central have benefited from the overall programs of the government. I do not always run behind or publicize what is being done, Madam Speaker, but where I sit in the cabinet, as all other colleagues, once you become aware of the program, you ensure that they are rolled out in a timely way. And I must say a big thank you to my ministerial colleagues. Anytime an issue arises, we can call them and say to them, this is what we know, that how the program is to operate. It is not operating that way on the ground. Please check to ensure that there is no departure from the policy and what has been agreed. And doing that, a lot of issues have been addressed without fanfare, and the people get the direct benefit, Madam Speaker. Land is a big issue, not only in St. James West Central, but right across Jamaica. I'm pleased to say that I have put a land titling project. It's an ongoing project. And I thank the CDF committee for approving the project when it was sent. Madam Speaker, we assist those who cannot fully afford getting their titles. Many of them are on lands that titles have been prepared for, but for one reason or the other, they have not been able to complete the transaction. I'm pleased to say that many have been assisted, and we are still identifying others who can be assisted. There is much to be done by way of surveys, sorting out competing claims to possession, ensuring that boundaries are properly identified, but it is work in progress. And in this regard, it is important for constituents to know that not only are we providing financial assistance, not only have I provided financial assistance, but more importantly, we have taken steps to simplify the law to ensure that the title can be obtained easier. And so in each constituency, there is an adjudication committee that sits and meets to help to address the issues around land holding. Madam Speaker, 73 names of needy constituents were submitted from my constituency for consideration for the housing improvement program through the Housing Agency of Jamaica. That went in December of last year, and we are tracking to ensure that the benefits are received. 8 young persons from the constituency are now being trained under the Learning and Investment for Transformation Program, the LIFT. 15 young persons from the constituency are awaiting full enrollment into the National Squatter Survey Program. Through the Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation, and in particular the Urban Renewal and Development Project for Communities, we're doing a comprehensive community sign project at a value of $4 million. And Madam Speaker, I personally went across the constituency with the team. So the program is far advanced, and we will roll out the finished product in short order. Madam Speaker, approximately $70 million has been spent within the St. James constituency between 2022 and August of this year towards hurricane mitigation, beautification, and road infrastructure improvement. Our implementing agencies were the National Works Agency and the National Solid Waste Management Agency. Thankfully, Madam Speaker, as a result of this ongoing work, we have been able to fare better than some other constituencies when the heavy rain comes. But this is not to say that other work shouldn't be done, Madam Speaker. So, Madam Speaker, on the dengue mitigation project through the Ministry of Local Government and Rural Development, we have work in progress. We will be removing bulk waste and we will clean up the mosquito breeding sites right across the constituency in the tune of a $2 million project. The Ministry of Economic Growth has also allocated some $24 million under the Constituency Mitigation Christmas Work Programme. And already, Madam Speaker, I am in consultation with the communities to ensure that the programme areas match the greatest need. Madam Speaker, I deem it a real privilege to come to this House to represent the people of St. James West Central. It is not the easiest constituency to represent, Madam Speaker, not at all. But you know, Madam Speaker, it is my hope that we will spend a little more time in this House in a more deliberative way, talking about the real issues of the people, because many of them see a disconnect between the work that we do. Some of them can't understand why we have to be here on a Tuesday. You know, Madam Speaker, just this morning a constituent was arguing with me about my coming to Parliament on a Tuesday. It's almost unbelievable, almost unbelievable. There is a disconnect between the work we do in the institutions of government and the expectations of the people on the ground. But you know, Madam Speaker, I want my St. James West Central constituents to know that I remain committed to representing them with integrity, Madam Speaker. I'm not going to be the up-in-the-face politician. They're not going to see me every single day in the constituency, but they can be assured that I am doing the work in their best interest. And so, Madam Speaker, there is much more to be done for the people of St. James West Central. But with so much that has been done so far, I am hopeful that the transformation that is taking place in the seat and right across the island will be felt by everyone. Keeping constituents safe is a priority of this government, Madam Speaker. And as I take my seat, I want to say how particularly pleased I am of the transformation that has taken place in the Mount Salem Zozo. The government has invested over $300 million to transform this zone into a safer space. Right now, only a few legacy activities remain, and they are under active implementation, which include work to be completed on the Mount Salem primary and infant schools, the multipurpose sports complex, and the enterprise development support. Rehabilitation of the Mount Salem police station. Madam Speaker, I am about to take my seat. I am about to take my seat, Madam Speaker. As I sit, I ask that going forward, the state of the constituency debate is more aligned to what it was intended to be as a presentation to the Honourable House before the budget call, so that we can have a greater alignment. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
House Leader, it would appear that the member only needed an extra half a minute and does not require any additional time.
Noted, Madam Speaker. Thank you for your tolerance and patience.
House Leader, before you continue, members, as indicated last week, when you're making a presentation, either at the constituency debate or statement by minister, whatever you are submitting for Parliament questions, they must come to the Parliament the day prior by 4 o'clock to facilitate the efficient operations of the Parliament and communications with yourself as members. I am asking again, so ministers, members, please, we need copies of your presentations. As Speaker, myself and the clerk absolutely need a copy. It actually gives us a guide as to whether or not you need half a minute, or you need a minute, or in fact 5 minutes. And that is very helpful, members. So just a reminder for all of us, please circulate the report. You like?
Thank you, Madam Speaker. And I'll ask you, Madam Speaker, to invite the Honourable Robert Nesta Morgan to make his presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, House Leader. Next up, to make his presentation in the state of the constituency debate is Minister Robert Nesta Morgan, the Member of Parliament for Clarendon North Central.
Natalie is my good friend. Natalie is my good friend. And
Minister,
I want to thank you, House Leader. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Minister, one moment, please, so your time doesn't start to run. So young people, very often when you are seated in the gallery, you're not necessarily able to withstand the rigors and the duration of the parliamentary session. You came in after we started. We normally make a special welcome to our young people in the parliament. I can see the uniform for Cedar Grove Academy on my left. I'm not clearly seeing the school in blue on my right, but I'd like to specially welcome you to the House of Parliament and encourage you to make it here again. And for all the schools across Jamaica, the Parliament is open to your being here at every session to take part in having an appreciation for what happens in respect of governance at this level. Thank you to the schools in the gallery. And the school on the right is Gregory Park Primary. Thank you for being here. 5 students and principal from Gregory Park Primary in Nago Head. Oh, and we have Nago Head as well, and Nago Head as well. Nago Head Primary as well. Thank you. Minister Morgan.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. I want to take the time to congratulate you on your ascendancy, and I want you to know that I take a distinct privilege to be on the right side of Parliament to your right.
Yes.
Madam Speaker, today I rise to speak of a place of promise nestled in the hills of central Jamaica, a place that is not only my constituency, but my birthplace and my home. North Central Clarendon is a region steeped in history, culture, and natural beauty. And today I'm proud to say that North Central is still better with Nesta. From the hills of Rock River to Moko and the charming beauty of Chapelton, my North Central is not only better than I found it, but it's on its way to being a more stronger, more prosperous constituency. Yes. Would be remiss of me, Madam Speaker, to not give thanks. First, I want to thank the Nesta team sitting in the gallery. I want to especially point out Mr. Norris Stone, who in about 2016 hunted me down at OPM and sent a message asking if you don't want the seat. At that time, I never really had any interest in running as a member of parliament, but when you were called, you have to answer. He's the one who is responsible for all of this. So you don't blame me, Angela, it's not my fault. I want to thank my secretary and friend for over 25 years, Miss Angelina Stanberry. She holds the reins of the constituency while I'm here performing national duties. I want to also thank my family, who are my strength and who absorb my frustrations and my triumphs in equal measure. And I want to also thank my colleagues who surround me, who have provided me with immeasurable support, love, advice, and gentle chastisement when I function wayward. And I do have friends on the opposition, you know, they might not want to say it publicly, but I have received some good advice from them too. I'm not going to call no name, Mark, because I don't want you to hear who they are. Fitz, remember, you know, me and your friend, we went to China together, you gave me some good advice as well. Yes?
Minister, you don't have any extra time?
Madam Speaker, since 2020, my team and I have sought to improve the prospects of my constituents through the execution of several projects spanning infrastructure, education, health, and agriculture. I want to start with something I'm very proud of, and it is the iconic Chapelton Clock Tower and War Memorial. At this time, I want to thank Billy Shagori, who brought his brother from Australia to fix the clock mechanism in the town, free of cost. The centre of the town recognizes the contribution of those from Clarendon who fell in the Great War 1914 to 18. It's a towering presence that serves as both a solemn tribute and a striking landmark, while the bust of Captain Kojo, the renowned Maroon leader, stands as guardian to the park, a powerful symbol of resistance, resilience against the British forces of the 1600s. I want to thank Minister Bartlett, who is not here today, for allowing TPDCO over the last 2 years to do that project. And also this year, Ms. Grange, you would be proud. We have improved the park, we have repainted the clock, we have done a mural. So our park is the cleanest and most beautiful park in Jamaica right now, in a small town. You're going to challenge me? I want to also thank Minister Mackenzie, who I approached him earlier this year and said that I would love to do an expo in the constituency, and he was kind enough to support me through the Ministry of Local Government and Rural Development. We had free HIV, STI testing, free blood sugar tests, free blood pressure checks, general health checks, all the services of the Registrar General's Department, all the National Land Agency services, all the passport services, applications to Heart Trust NSTA, on-the-job interviews as well. In that expo, over 400 residents, including children, turned out to benefit from the resources that were offered, which culminated in 80 residents from the constituency receiving Heart Trust certification, and a further 30 being employed on the spot. Madam Speaker, in terms of agriculture, one of my proudest moments, Minister from Eastern St. Andrew, is the renovation and rehabilitation of the Crawl River Road, a road that has not been fixed for 40 years. We hear that so often. When I was campaigning, the people, he wasn't there for 40 years. When I was campaigning, Minister Grange, the people of Crawl said they will not be voting for me because they don't have a road. But after the road was fixed, I went there, and they said, you made a commitment, you fulfilled your commitment, and we will fulfill ours. Madam Speaker, last year we had a very... It's George Lynn. Remember George Lynn? Yes. Madam Speaker, Last year, heavy rains damaged the road in Suttons, which, I'm not distracted. Heavy rains destroyed one of the main entrances to Rock River. Prime Minister made a promise to the constituents to fix the road, but we also committed that while the road is to be fixed, and it's going to be a significant fix of approximately $100 million, we will fix the alternative route. Today I can report, thanks to the work of the NWA and Minister Warmington, that Ennishill, which is the alternative route to Rock River, has been repaired. In the same vein, through the work of the NWA, we were able to do some patching work in the wood section, which leads to my constituency. Though I only have a percentage of it, I advocated on behalf of the people for that road to be fixed as well. We have done a lot on roads. We have fixed Summerfield to Beckford Crawl. We have fixed Turners to Suttons. We have fixed Redmond, Coxon, Mooreswood, Whitechapel, Prospect, Mucker Road, Simon, Diamond, Trafalgar Island, and I could list more and more and more and more roads than we have fixed. But I will say to you, as I fix more roads, there are more roads to be fixed, and I am confident in the commitment of my government that they will continue to build infrastructure in North Central Clarendon. Which is why, Madam Speaker, in the coming financial year, I'm very happy for the Spark program. I'm happy that we were able to submit 3 major roads, Summerfield to Thompson Town, and I see my colleague, neighbor, Mr. Enriquez, who shares a part of that road with me. We have made suggestions to the NWA that they need to fix Summerfield to Thompson Town. We have made suggestions to the NWA that they need to permanently fix Woods, which we suspect will be a $1 billion project. And we will also be fixing the Rock River to Ginger Ridge Road. Madam Speaker, roads perform an important function in rural communities. Our community is filled with farmers, and they need proper roads for transportation. I want to also today thank the CPFSA, who have fixed the 3 roads to the 3 children's home that I have in my constituency. Today is a day of thanks. There are a lot of people who have assisted myself and my constituents in North Central Clarendon. Land has been donated, Dr. Chang, for the building of the Moko Police Station. Like myself, Baron Stewart, the owner of Stewart's Hardware, is a son of the soil. His family came from Moko, and he was kind enough to donate the land to the government for the building of the Moko Police Station. It is a fact that the police officers in Moko work in conditions that we're not proud of. They work in containers. And since I have been MP, I've been working with Dr. Chang. He actually has visited the constituency, and we can make the commitment that the Moko Police Station will be modernized, improved. Pardon? Exactly. So we know that it's coming. Through the Ministry of National Security, we have also done renovations to the Rock River Police Station. Yeah. We have also done renovations to the Chapelton Police Station. And I myself have done some work by donating appliances to the police stations. All right. Next year, the community of Moko will also see the upgrading of the Moko Clinic. And land has already been identified, Minister Williams, for the relocation of the Chapelton Primary School, which the Minister has committed will be moving off shift. Through the Ministry of Education and the help of Minister Williams, we have repaired the Mount Liberty School, the Chapelton Primary School, and we have also built a new classroom at Pinders Valley, which was closed for 2 years. Through the Chase Fund, we'll be repaving the Simon Primary School, and we have also just completed fencing through the Chase Fund of the Moko Primary School, where we'll be building a playground and repairing the roof through the Chase Fund. I want to also thank Minister Tufton, who is not here, who has informed me that the theatre equipment for the Chapelton Community Hospital is on the wharf. We are now 24 hours, but with theatre equipment, we'll be able to do minor surgeries at the Chapelton Community Hospital. No longer will the people of North Central have to travel half an hour to to go to Maypen, to go to the hospital. They now have their own fully equipped hospital in North Central Clarendon. For 2 years, the New Longsville Postal Agency was closed. I want to thank the principal of Beulah All-Age Miss Little for donating a room so we could relocate the postal agency, and I'm proud to say on August 17, we reopened the postal agency. Madam Speaker, 4 communities now benefit from free Wi-Fi in North Central Clarendon: Stewarton, Chapelton Square, Rock River Square, and Mucko Square. I want to announce that coming in the next couple of weeks, 2 more communities, thanks to Minister Vaz, will get free Wi-Fi. That is Kellett. You have him all the time. I just borrow him to Wi-Fi. So Beckford Crawl and Kellett Square in Woodall will also get Wi-Fi in a few weeks. I want to touch on education. I myself, my success in life is 100% based on education. When I was campaigning for the constituency I represent, I committed to the people that my focus would be of uplifting the young people of North Central Clarendon. I am proud that over the last 3 years, every year we have exponentially increased the benefits to students and their families for education. In 2021, 519 students benefited from school fees, college tuition, book vouchers, and uniforms. In 2022, we increased that number to 792, and in 2023, 1,200 students benefited from our education support. Education support in the form of tertiary grants, back-to-school grants, school vouchers, and this year we distributed over 500 knapsacks with books and other implements to our students across the constituency. Madam Speaker, I'm proud to advise this Honourable House that in my rural constituency, we were able to spend over $17 million in the past 3 years to assist our students. This money has not just been government money. In 2017, before I became a member of Parliament, I committed to one of my past schools, Clarendon College, that I will launch a scholarship in the name of my beloved Vice Principal, Pansy Porteous, where every year we gave $50,000 to 2 students. I said to them, don't give the A student, because they can get scholarship anywhere. Because when I used to get a report, the teacher always write, good student but can do better. So I said, yes, I am a good student but I can do better still. Yes. So the criteria I told to the principal of Clarendon College was talk to the teacher and find out the student who needs a little help to do a little bit better. Yeah. Every year, for 3 years, we gave $50,000. Last year, we increased it to 100. So now 4 students from Clarendon College benefit from the Pansy Porteous grant. This is not government money. But I have 2 high schools and I couldn't make Lennon feel left out. So we launched the Alfred Francis Scholarship at Lennon High School for $100,000. So both Clarendon College and Lennon, 8 students, $200,000, not government money. People who believe in our students willing to make the sacrifice for their lives to be better. It is a fact, Madam Speaker, that North Central Clarendon experiences significant challenges with the issue of potable water. I want to thank Domain, Etan, and Gawain from NWC for taking my late night calls with the constant complaints from residents. But I will say to you, Madam Speaker, that the future looks bright for North Central Clarendon. The government has envisioned the creation of a treatment plant in Rock River to the tune of 3 million gallons of water per day to serve Chapelton and Rock River for water. 80% of Rock River has no water. 60% of Chapelton has no water. I was making a joke to a friend of mine who had a water lock-off for 2 hours in Constant Spring. And I was saying to him, well, yours is 2 hours. Ours has been forever. A lot of us do not appreciate. No, this is not a joke thing, you know. A lot of us do not understand the struggles that rural persons face in accessing the necessary and urgent resources to make their lives better. But I'm confident that my government that I'm a part of, this Andrew Holness administration will make things better for the people of Rock River and Chapeltown. I spoke to Minister Samuda yesterday, who advised me that community consultations are about to begin for the Rock River treatment plant and dam to provide water finally after many decades to the people of Rock River and Chapeltown. So they too can start complaining about 2-hour water lockoffs instead of whole-day water lockoffs. I want to thank Minister Mackenzie again, you know, because he came to the constituency a few weeks ago and he went to a place called Gardenwood, which most of you have never heard of. He recognized that Gardenwood also has no water and committed to building a 20,000-gallon water shop for Gardenwood. North Central is lucky because many years ago, Minister Mackenzie would tell you, we got the first water shop in Penance. Not only are we getting a water shop in Gardenwood, but we are also getting a 16,000-gallon water shop in Bedford Crawl to assist residents with their water challenges. Madam Speaker, I want to also thank Minister Green and the team from RADA. My constituency is a farming constituency. We have invested significantly over the last 3 years in helping our farmers. I could go through lists about the thousands of chickens we have given, the hundreds of bags of fertilizer, the hundreds of farmers who have benefited. But I want to talk about a special project that is dear to my heart. I call it the Community Rabbit Rearing Experiment, CREE. I visited Sister T, who lives in Rock River, over a year ago. She had rabbits. And I said to Sister T, beg you 2 rabbits, no? She said, Mr. Morgan, what are you going to do with them? I said, I'm going to grow them and give it to people. Over the last 2 years, we have distributed 70 rabbits. 70 rabbits to small farmers in the constituency of North Central Clarendon. 35 farmers have benefited, and here why? Rabbit is what, $2,000 a pound? There are many hotels and restaurants that have a shortage of rabbits. We are finding innovative ways to provide income to our constituents and to build new industries in our communities. If you want some rabbit, I can give you 2, you know. Madam Speaker, I want to go to housing. Housing continues and land continues to be a challenge in many communities in the country. While successive governments over the years have made significant strides in trying to build houses and create opportunities for housing purchase, it is still a problem. Not only is it a problem on the higher end in terms of our ability to build enough houses for persons to buy mortgages and purchase, but there are many persons in our communities that do not qualify for a mortgage. They would have probably worked and paid taxes for many years but never contributed to the NHT, which is why I'm very happy for the Hope Housing project. So far, we have opened 2 Hope houses with the Prime Minister. Currently, we're building 3. And next year, January, February, March, we'll be completing 8. I want to say a special thank you to the Prime Minister for envisioning this project. There's a gentleman from Chowtal Pass, worked all his life as a gardener, never paid any NHT, couldn't qualify for a mortgage, couldn't go to the bank. When I went there the day to open the house to the Prime Minister, you saw where the rain fell between his bed and his stove. He had no prospects of buying a house. This is why the Hope Housing project is so important. there are people who have contributed to the development of our nation, and as Representative said, we have to smodify the people them in our country, make they feel that they too are a person that deserves to be recognized by the government because they too have contributed to our development. Yes. 64 constituents, Madam Speaker, have benefited from housing assistance over the year. And I want to also, boy, Minister Mackenzie, I keep having to thank you. When he toured my constituency recently, he visited 4 indigent persons, and currently we're in the process of building 4 indigent houses for these persons. Excellent. There are many young persons who have gone up overseas and been on the farm work program. A lot of people criticize the farm work program. Yeah, they don't understand. Every program has its challenges. But I'm one MP who supports the farm work program. Yeah. It is a glorious feeling when somebody comes back from farm work and you see them buy a new car. It's a glorious feeling to see them put on a room on the house. Yes. It's a glorious feeling when you call them and say you're not applying for back to school and say, MP, we don't need no back to school, I pay the school fee already. Yes. I am happy with the work of Minister Pernell Charles Jr. in recognizing the challenges with the farmer program and visiting the farms to solve these problems. And I want to say to him, let us continue to expand the program so that more persons from rural Jamaica, Delroy don't have any farm workers. There are no farm workers in your constituency. You don't need any farm. No, it's a serious thing. The farm work program has helped thousands of Jamaicans have a better life. And we on this side support the program and will continue to improve it. Madam Speaker, between 2021 and 2023, a total of 140 persons were assisted with funeral grants in my constituency. 140. Yeah. The sad thing about it, we can't enumerate the dead people. Though we can try. Some people can try. We can't enumerate dead people. 140 people, and the sad part about this is a lot of these persons succumbed due to COVID, and we extend condolences to their families. We have helped over 177 persons with short-term poverty alleviation, and over 100 constituents, Madam Speaker, received a share of the funding to boost their small business, which is called economic enablement. Madam Speaker, through the toil and the steep hills, we tread long roads. Yeah. I am energized by the love, loyalty of the people of North Central Clarendon. Yep. The people need water, and through this government we are giving them water. The people need roads, and through this government we are giving them roads. The people want better schools, and through this government we are giving them better schools. Our vision is to see our children strive and prosper. Through this government, they are thriving and prospering. Madam Speaker, unlike some, I am not a visitor to my constituency. I sold in the market, I rode the donkey. I walk barefoot just like most of the persons in my constituency. I went to the same schools that they did. I ate out of the same pot they did. I did the same day work they did. I borrowed the half a butter and the teaspoon of salt that they did. I understand what the people of my constituency go through every single day. Yeah. Madam Speaker, that's why we're not screaming. As a minister, many will come and will make pronouncements about what is in the best interest of rural people. I'm a country MP. I stand with my people on a daily basis, and we know what is in our best interest as rural folk. The concerns, Madam Speaker, the concerns of people who reside in urban areas is different from the concerns of rural folk. We are still concerned about access to telecommunications due to our rural nature. We are still concerned about access to water, access to proper roads, access to proper school infrastructure. It is the reason why I'm so pleased, Madam Speaker, that for the first time, a government decided to have a Ministry of Rural Development. Madam Speaker, I stand corrected. Madam Speaker, it is with great pride that I stand here representing the good people of North Central Clarendon. And it is a sense of accomplishment and hope that I provide this update. We are not yet where we want to be, but we are not a long way from there. It is my commitment to keep serving and to continue to make North Central Clarendon a better place. Thank you, Madam Speaker, and God bless you.
Presentation. Thank you.
Members, now on his feet, the Honourable Alando Terrelonge, Member of Parliament for St. Catherine East Central, who will make his contribution to the State of Constituency debate.
Rising united in the time of economic growth, development, and prosperity.
Absolutely.
Madam Speaker, I stand before this Honourable House to make my contribution to the state of the constituency debate. I must first express my heartfelt gratitude to God for his blessings and opportunities that have allowed me to serve as the proud Member of Parliament for St. Catherine East Central for the past 7 years.
And a good one too.
I wish to convey my deep appreciation for the trust placed in me by the Most Honourable Prime Minister, Andrew Holness. Not only has he granted me the privilege of representing the good people of St. Catherine East Central, but he has also entrusted me with the role of Minister of State in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade, a responsibility I assumed earlier this year. Prior to this, I had the privilege of serving as Minister of State in both the Ministry of Culture, Gender, Entertainment and Sport and the Ministry of Education, Youth and Information. And these diverse experiences have allowed me to contribute humbly to the prosperity of our nation through service to our diaspora and by extension, the wider global community. I must acknowledge the unwavering support and dedication of Minister Kamina Johnson-Smith, our Permanent Secretary, Ambassador Sheila Sealy-Monteith, my committed executive team, and the diligent staff at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade, who have played a pivotal role in ensuring a smooth transition into my new role. My deep appreciation extends to my wife and our 3 sons, my parents and other family members who have given their unwavering support to me on this journey that oftentimes sees me missing milestone family celebrations, given my commitment to this most noble and unending call, service to nationhood. I want to publicly thank Joy Brown, our dedicated councillor for the Gregory Park Division, Marlene Gordon, my Constituency Development Officer, as well as our councillor candidate for the Portmore Pines Division, and Damara Lawson, our councillor candidate for the South Bar Division, which includes the community of Newlands. They continue to work tirelessly, both in public and behind the scenes, to promote the growth, development and prosperity of East Central and empower the constituents we serve. I also extend my thanks to my East Central family, many of whom are here today, for their continued support over the years, and to all the members of Team Terrelonge who have ensured my re-election as a second-term Member of Parliament. Madam Speaker, this accomplishment is significant, considering I am the first member of the Jamaica Labour Party in 43 years to secure a second term in Portmore. With the third term already loading as we chart the course together, rising united in the time of economic growth, development and prosperity. Madam Speaker, in charting the course of growth, development and prosperity for my East Central family, my team and I have always centered our mission around the education of our youth. Driven by the conviction that education is the most valuable gift we can give to the young kings and queens of Jamaica, I prioritized the implementation of the Terrelonge Award for Academic Excellence for primary school students the moment I assumed office as Member of Parliament in 2016. Since then, Madam Speaker, we have recognized approximately 50 outstanding students annually from the primary schools within the constituency: Nagahead Primary, Gregory Park Primary, and Independent City Primary. Madam Speaker, we honor these students through awards and academic bursaries, and this year we proudly extended this initiative to an additional 100 students from our primary schools, each receiving trophies and bursaries ranging from $10,000 to $25,000 as part of the Terrelonge Award for Academic Excellence. Madam Speaker, since 2016, I have directed the largest share of my Constituency Development Fund to education. Yes. This year has been no different, and I am delighted to report that we have aided over 3,500 students from basic schools and infant departments, primary and high schools, and tertiary students with book vouchers, school supplies, and tuition, expending more than $11 million exclusively on educational development within our constituency. Madam Speaker, an educated mind is the best weapon our children can wield, and in that regard, I pay tribute to Principal Williams and the staff at the Gregory Park Primary School, Principal Geddes and the staff at the Independent City Primary School, Principal Givens and the staff at the Nagahead Primary School, and Principal Brown and staff of the Cedar Grove Academy, all schools represented here today, and the students and principals seated in the gallery. Madam Speaker, we continue to work and rise united as partners and key stakeholders in the growth, development and prosperity of our schools and the empowerment of our youth. We recently constructed a new security perimeter wall at the Gregory Park Primary School thanks to the sum of $20 million provided by the Ministry of Education. And I want to thank Minister Williams for guiding the process to ensure the funds were released to undertake this project. Madam Speaker, this project has not only improved the standard of safety for the students, but has also enhanced the beauty of the historic Gregory Park Square. I say a big thank you to Councillor Joy Brown, who was on site every single day throughout the construction of the perimeter wall to ensure its successful completion. We are undertaking further beautification of Gregory Park Square by renovating the sidewalks at the school. Thanks to contributions from Minister Desmond McKenzie through the Ministry of Local Government and Rural Development to spruce up the community by way of new coloured pavement and murals along the new school wall, which will highlight the proud history of Gregory Park. Additionally, through my efforts as Member of Parliament, we have received a grant of $3 million from the Toll Authority of Jamaica to build a multipurpose court at the Gregory Park Primary School. This will serve as a crucial hub for enriching the recreational experiences of our students by enhancing the quality of our sports program. Madam Speaker, based on the bill of quantities, the total to complete the project is $4.6 million. To that end, I have tabled a proposal to the Sports Development Foundation to secure their commitment for an additional $1.6 million to enable us to start building the multipurpose court. I also continue to work assiduously to procure funding to build out another security perimeter wall for Nagahead Primary to ensure the safety and security of our students. Madam Speaker, from my discussions with Minister Williams and the Ministry of Education and Youth, They recognize the urgent need for the construction of the perimeter fencing, and we want to make a special appeal to Minister Williams and the team for the funds to be released in the next financial year so we can start construction in earnest. Madam Speaker, I must also laud the achievements of our young kings and queens at the Nagahead Primary, who are winners of the TPD Co Tourism Quiz Championship for 2022 and 2023, as well as the second place winners in the InSport Central Athletic Championship and third place in the National Athletic Championship. Yes. We continue to work with Principal Givens and the school to ensure the continued holistic development of our students. Madam Speaker, we are presently working on a proposal with the Universal Service Fund for the provision of global high-speed Wi-Fi for our young kings and queens at the Independent City Primary School, which undoubtedly will ensure their empowerment in the age of technology. We have also partnered with JADCO, an agency that believes in the combination of sports and education, to help us refurbish the computer lab at that school, and I say a special thank you to Mrs. Spence Jarrett and her team for the collaboration. I have always maintained, Madam Speaker, that the provision of smart devices and free internet access must be viewed as a basic human right for all our students if Jamaica is to advance with the global trends for growth, development, and prosperity. I must also point out, Madam Speaker, that our young kings and queens at the Cedar Grove Academy continue to demonstrate excellence in all their endeavours. Our success rate at the National CSEC and CAPE examinations demonstrate that Cedar Grove Academy is a force to be reckoned with, not just in Portmore, but across Jamaica. However, Madam Speaker, owing to the growing demands for placement at the school, we continue to petition the Ministry of Education to construct a new block to accommodate more students at the Centre of Academic Excellence. To that end, from my Constituency Development Fund, I have committed to allocating the sum of $500,000 for laying of the first set of blocks towards its construction. Madam Speaker, as Member of Parliament, I remain committed to ensuring that the communities of East Central remain at the forefront of the fourth industrial revolution, the age of technology. Last year, we took a significant step in establishing Wi-Fi hotspots in Newlands and Gregor Park. Today, I am proud to announce that the community of Caymanas Garden Site A has also embraced this digital transformation. Thanks to the dedicated efforts of the Universal Service Fund under the leadership of Dr. Doze, who also donated 10 tablets to our students at the launch of this new community Wi-Fi spot, including a tablet to our young superstar, Daniel Harrison, from Independent City Primary, who, at just 10 years old, is the top speller for the entire parish of St. Catherine at just 10 years old. Our goal, Madam Speaker, is to ensure that by the end of this term, public access to Wi-Fi will be available throughout the entirety of St. Catherine East Central. This achievement underscores the importance of effective representation. Madam Speaker, it makes a difference who represents the people, and this government is fully committed to embracing the digital age and providing access that empowers our young kings and queens. Madam Speaker, as we rise united, we continue to demonstrate that this is indeed a time of economic growth, development, and prosperity. As Portmore gears up to become the 15th parish, envisioning... Listen fit. As Portmore gears up to become the 15th parish, envisioning its future involves a strategic focus on technology, creativity, solar power, and enterprise. This trajectory is essential not only for generating employment opportunities for thousands of youth, but also for fostering nation building. Yes. Madam Speaker, the pivotal role of technology in empowering young people and propelling our country forward cannot be overemphasized. I propose the establishment of a central youth innovation center within the new Resilience Park to be constructed. Absolutely. This center, Madam Speaker, will be dedicated to high-tech skills training and innovation, playing a crucial role in enhancing Jamaica's global competitiveness as a modern economy. Through partnerships with organizations like HEART and STA Trust and the Ministries of Education, Science, Energy and Technology, we have the potential to transform this hub into a powerful catalyst for youth empowerment, helping to steer our nation through the challenges and opportunities of the fourth industrial revolution. With a substantial population of over 70,000 young people in Portmore, the centre's primary objective would include the production, repair and installation of solar panels throughout the city. Additionally, we use the opportunity to advocate government concessions to citizens embracing solar energy, contributing to the city's moniker, the Sunshine City. Madam Speaker, in light of the ongoing conflicts between Russia and Ukraine in Eastern Europe and the war and increasing tension in the Middle East, this will inevitably lead to escalating global prices of oil and gas. It is prudent, therefore, for Jamaicans to turn to solar energy as a cost-saving measure. This move aligns with the government's effort to strike a balance among economic stability, public welfare and livelihoods, particularly in the face of global economic and political uncertainties. Therefore, promoting the adoption of solar energy is not only a sustainable choice, but a strategic decision crucial for the well-being of our citizens and the resilience of our economy. At the fore of infrastructural development within the constituency lies road improvement. I have carefully designed a blueprint that outlines the type of physical environment our constituents deserve in a contemporary society. To achieve this, I have launched a program dedicated to repairing and rehabilitating roads across every community in the constituency. For this year, Madam Speaker, we have made substantial strides in upgrading Aries Close and Pisces Close in Watson Grove and the historic Cane Peace Baptist Road in Gregory Park, which had not been rehabilitated in over 60 years. Moreover, the renovation of Hillsdown Avenue and Meadowvale Drive in the community of Meadowvale has been successfully completed, while Belmore Avenue in Cedar Grove, Newlands Maid Road, and off-roads like Anglin Avenue have been approved and await the procurement of contracts to push them out of the pipeline as we create better roads for our citizens. Madam Speaker, I am pleased to announce that under my leadership, and with the aid of my dedicated team members, we have repaired more roads in Portmore in 7 years than any other representative has done in the last 40 years. And for this, we are very proud.
You don't do one.
Growth, development, and prosperity, Madam Speaker, remain at the forefront of our agenda in St. Catherine East Central. Madam Speaker, I am also pleased to announce that the government has given the green light for the expansion of the Grange Lane into a dual carriageway. This will happen in January 2024. The contract has been awarded, and I have met with the contractor and his team to share my vision for the growth and development of the entire Portmore. After all, Madam Speaker, our soon-to-be 15th parish will need its own grand boulevards to meet the needs of its growing number of residents, businesses, and commercial enterprises. This transformation, Madam Speaker, will be pivotal for the future development of East Central and Portmore by significantly reducing commuters' travel time by 45 minutes to an hour upon completion.
Minister Terrelonge, hold a moment, please. His time for speaking is going to be increased because of the noise across both sides.
Don't point at me.
Members, I would like to hear, I would love to hear the presentation, and I'm struggling to do so. And I'm sure Nagohead Primary, Cedar Grove Primary would love to hear the presentation as well. Cedar Grove Academy would love to hear the presentation as well. So members, I'm asking you, please listen to the member and allow him to speak without the level of noise that we are currently experiencing. Minister, please continue.
Guided, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, after all, our soon-to-be 15th parish will need its own Grand Boulevard to meet the needs of its growing number of residents, businesses, and commercial enterprises.
Absolutely.
This transformation taking place across Portmore will be pivotal for the future development of the 15th parish. It will significantly reduce commuters' travel time by between 45 to 50 minutes, by between 45 minutes to an hour upon completion. This, Madam Speaker, will allow our constituents to travel to work easier, conduct businesses easier, and also attract more investors into Portmore, providing job opportunities to our youth and all constituents. Already, Madam Speaker, I have had the pleasure of opening the new Courts flagship store in Portmore, the new Fontana in Portmore, and the second opening of Ibex in Portmore. Together, Madam Speaker, these businesses have employed more than 1,500 workers, more than 70% of whom reside in Portmore. Madam Speaker, this Honourable House and the nation have also heard the Prime Minister speak of the transformational changes of some 2,000 roads in our country under the Sparks programme. And I wish to note my recommendation that minor roads within communities also be prioritised under this new programme as we proceed to develop our community roads in tandem with our highways. As I have expressed previously, Madam Speaker, constituents do not make the distinction between major roads and minor roads, central government and local government. For them, it is one Member of Parliament per constituency, and it is the Member of Parliament to whom they turn for all their concerns, including roads that have been underdeveloped throughout communities. For this reason, Madam Speaker, we must ensure that the national prosperity also extends to community roads as well.
Absolutely.
Madam Speaker, my team and I have also focused much attention on improvements to a number of parks and public spaces in our constituency. This has been twinned to our focus on creating safe spaces for mental health and relaxation. Together, we have brought about significant improvements in numerous parks and public spaces within the constituency. Over the past 4 years, we've worked tirelessly to create and enhance public, recreational and family-friendly areas in communities like Portmore Pines, Silverstone, West Cumberland, Gregory Park, Christian Gardens, Morris Meadows and Cedar Grove, with the most recent park and jogging trail with a beautiful gazebo at its centrepiece completed this year in the community of Hamilton Gardens. Madam Speaker, thanks to the hard work of our councillor candidate for the Portmore Pines Division, Marlene Gordon, we also constructed a new football field in the community of Caymanas Garden Site A, much to the delight of community members, in particularly our youth who are sports inclined. As we continue to rise united across East Central, our collective efforts have not only led to the development of these spaces, but have also resulted in comprehensive beautification and sanitation projects aimed at keeping our constituency pristine. Madam Speaker, I must, however, make an appeal to the National Solid Waste Management Authority to establish a more robust system for proper and regular garbage collection and disposal, as the complaints from residents across our communities serve to whittle away the positive areas of growth, development and prosperity our government has created for our people. Madam Speaker, I must also thank Minister Bartlett and his team at the Ministry of Tourism for approving the sum of $4 million towards the further beautification of our communities, from which we have allocated $1.5 million towards a joint project with Councillor Joy Brown to beautify the park in the area known as Compound in Gregory Park, $1.5 million to go towards the community park in Phase 1 in West Cumberland, and $1 million towards a beautification project in the community of Newlands. These projects will be completed before the end of this financial year. As it relates to agriculture, Madam Speaker, in the last 3 years, in partnership with RADA, we have provided crucial support to over 500 small-scale farmers and their families, enabling them to enhance their farms and farm-related businesses. We have also extended a helping hand to some 300 farmers by offering essential resources such as fertilizers, grains, livestock, including poultry, pigs, goats, water tanks, and irrigation systems. Additionally, over 120 residents have been assessed with farm work applications. This assistance has not only empowered them to maintain self-sufficiency, but has also bolstered their capacity to provide for families and communities more effectively. Madam Speaker, on behalf of the entire East Central family, and in particular those families who have members who have been given the opportunity to get a liquor farm work in Big Foreign, we are able to say thank you to successive ministers of agriculture. The Honourable Minister Carl Samuda, Minister Floyd Green, and Minister Pernell Charles Jr. for their support. Madam Speaker, in collaboration with the Ministry of Local Government and Rural Development and the Social Development Commission, we have also initiated the Economic Empowerment Programme, which provides grants to over 40 individuals from grassroots communities, an investment sum of $50,000 to kickstart their small businesses. Furthermore, in this current financial year, we have helped an additional 200 individuals through the Poverty Intervention Programme, coordinated by the Ministry of Labour and Social Security, with financial assistance ranging from $10,000 to $20,000 to aid with self-sufficiency. Madam Speaker, while we rise united and celebrate the significant strides we've made in the growth, development and prosperity of our constituency and communities across Jamaica, I must use this platform to vehemently condemn those who have used violence and acts of terrorism in an attempt to hinder our national development. On the fateful morning of August 12, 2023, armed terrorists invaded the peaceful homes of residents on Walker's Avenue, Gregory Park, setting fires to the homes of our fellow Jamaicans. This heinous act left 11 houses in ashes and more than 40 individuals, including women and children, homeless. Rum Punch was killed, and our beloved community matriarch, Miss Sweeney, who suffered serious burns all over her body, died whilst being treated at the Spanish Town Hospital and was laid to rest on November 19, 2023. Madam Speaker, 2 weeks before that morning of terror, these same terrorists set fires in the community of Mexico, where they destroyed 4 homes, leaving 15 persons, including women and children, homeless, traumatized, and destitute. Madam Speaker, in the face of such horrific acts of terrorism, we rallied as a nation and as a government to not only condemn these heinous acts, but to provide support for our fellow Jamaicans. By the Monday morning, our Prime Minister and a team of key stakeholders from the JCF, JDF, the Child Protection and Family Services Agency, the Ministry of Education, the Ministry of Labour and Social Services, Social Security, and the Hope Social Housing Programme were in Gregory Park providing support to the families. Additionally, Madam Speaker, we formed Operation Phoenix, mobilizing a coalition of these same government agencies and organizations to provide relief assistance and psychosocial support for the victims. I'd like to extend our gratitude to our partners from the private sector as well, namely Grace Kennedy Limited, Kingston Bookshop, and Caramed, among others, for their unwavering commitment to their corporate social responsibility. They provided much needed assistance to the donation of food items, books, and other school supplies, including scholarships during a time of national crisis. Your support has been invaluable, and we thank you. Madam Speaker, I am immensely proud to announce our government's unwavering commitment to reconstructing the affected homes. The dedicated team from the Hope Social Housing Programme has diligently coordinated with the affected families, and I also extend my gratitude once more to Minister Desmond McKenzie for his invaluable support in clearing the land for us to commence the construction phase. We also laud Minister Charles and Minister Norman Dunn for financial assistance provided to children within the affected families in excess of $750,000. Madam Speaker, we remain resolute in our stance. This government will never surrender our beloved country to terrorists. We will spare no efforts to ensure that the criminals responsible for this heart-wrenching tragedy are brought to justice. In fact, Madam Speaker, 4 of the young men named in the gruesome acts have been apprehended by our security forces, and we commend the Ministry of National Security and its dedicated officers for their continued work. Madam Speaker, to address the root causes of violence in not just East Central, but many communities in Jamaica, we must acknowledge that the complex network of underdeveloped and underserviced communities, littered with zinc fences and choppy getaways, coupled with the absence of proper infrastructure and social amenities, all serve as a deterrent to effective policing. I cannot stress the point enough, Madam Speaker, that comprehensive community planning and the provision of decent housing stand as vital tools in the fight against crime. Madam Speaker, the harrowing cries of the children on Walker's Avenue and in Mexico when armed terrorists invaded and firebombed their homes are no different from the harrowing cries of children in other parts of Jamaica and around the world, where grave atrocities continue to lead to horrific humanitarian crises. As a student of history, international relations, and international humanitarian law, and even more so as a father to 3 young kings and a politician with a voice to speak on behalf of the defenseless, it has been impossible to turn a blind eye or remain indifferent to the harrowing cries of children and growing humanitarian crises in places like Haiti, Democratic Republic of Congo, Gaza, and Sudan, where violence had led to the death and displacement of millions of children, including women and children. Madam Speaker, if we truly recognize the world as a global village, if we truly believe that all children are of the living God, if we genuinely believe in our shared humanity, then we must stand on the side of humanity and lend our voices to innocent children, women, and civilians who become victims of indiscriminate violence, whether in Jamaica, the region, or afar. Let us remember that there is no victory in violence. Instead, we must strive for a world where dialogue, empathy, and understanding prevail. We must unite as a global community and advocate for peaceful resolutions to conflicts, not just in our communities, but in every corner of the world where the fires of injustice, humanitarian crisis, and war continue to burn. Madam Speaker, notwithstanding instances of violence caused by acts of terrorism by a few residents and importees, the people of East Central St. Catherine remain strong, they remain resilient, and they remain proud as they go about their daily lives to ensure the growth, development, and prosperity of their families. Madam Speaker, the constituents of East Central continue to benefit from the overarching developmental policy of the government, guided by Vision 2030, with its core policy to leave no one behind in order for Jamaica to become the ideal place of choice to live, work, do business, and retire.
The member's time for speaking has expired.
Madam Speaker, I ask that the member be given 5 minutes to complete his presentation.
You will not be able to get 10, member. So the question is that you will be allowed 6 minutes to complete your presentation, 5 minutes, which is granted to all members of the House, and 1 additional minute because I stopped you. No, you could have gotten it. Member Malahoo, Forte, you should have asked. So the question is that the member be allowed 6 minutes to complete his presentation. Those in favor? Those against? The ayes have it. Please be as efficient as you can with the limited time you have.
Guided, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, while walking along Cottage Drive, Newlands Main Road, Independence City, or Caymanas Gardens, you will notice a significant number of young Jamaicans who are now actively pursuing a course at the Heart Academy in light of the government's new initiative, which removed tuition and administrative fees, now enabling every Jamaican to register for a Heart certification program up to the level of an associate's degree. Madam Speaker, while some may pander to the propaganda machinery that nothing na go on in Jamaica, the undeniable truth is that the government, led by Prime Minister Holness, we have under the government led by Prime Minister, that under this administration led by Prime Minister Andrew Holness, we have experienced 9 consecutive quarters of robust economic growth, an impressive achievement which underscores the increasing economic potential of our nation.
Facts.
Madam Speaker, in my new role as Minister of State in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade, with responsibility for diaspora affairs and economic relations between Latin America and the Caribbean, I can attest to the widespread recognition of Jamaica's economic growth and development. Countries across the globe, as well as prominent institutions like the United Nations, the IMF, and the World Bank, have lauded the efforts of our Prime Minister and this government. This should be a source of immense pride for all of us. Madam Speaker, when they ask me what is the secret recipe for Jamaica's growth and success, I tell them that the secret recipe is Dr. Nigel Clark. The secret recipe is Kamina Johnson-Smith. The secret recipe is Dr. Christopher Tufton. The secret recipe, I could go on, Madam Speaker. The secret recipe is the JLP government that is led by the Most Honourable Andrew Michael Holness. A government focused on increasing productivity, focused on the education and upscale of its people, focused on economic growth and infrastructure development. The secret recipe, Madam Speaker, is our people. Our Jamaican people who rejected the run-with-it government of the 1990s and early 2000s. Our people who rejected the harbingers of economic stagnation and destruction. The people who said, time come and gone, long time, and we're not changing course because we are now living in the time of Andrew Holness, in the time of productivity, of economic growth, development, and prosperity. Madam Speaker, during my official visits to the United States, the United Kingdom, Canada, and other countries, I have had the privilege of engaging with our diaspora. Madam Speaker, I am delighted to report that they are proud of this government. They are proud to see the significant strides we have made and continue to make as a nation.
Absolutely.
I have also engaged with influential business leaders and government officials who are eager to invest in Jamaica. Meaningful dialogues have commenced, and we can anticipate the entry of major global companies into the Jamaican market, which will bring increased foreign exchange, job opportunities for our citizens, and extensive infrastructure development throughout the country. Madam Speaker, Jamaica remains the poster child for economic growth and prosperity throughout the region of the Americas and the Caribbean. The world is at our shores, breaking down our doors with earnest to invest in the prosperity that we have developed over the last 7 years. Madam Speaker, Jamaica is no longer seen merely as a destination of sun, sand and sea, but we have been transformed into a destination of trade and investment. Madam Speaker, as Jamaica continues to be transformed into a global destination for commerce and investment, we must transform the minds and mentality of our citizens. They must recognize that the world, through technology, as we become increasingly more connected, that the acquisition of a foreign language is not just an educational achievement to be boasted by some, but must be viewed as a strategic development in our human capital that will lead to increased productivity and prosperity within our nation. The ability to speak more than one language is an invaluable skill that can open up countless opportunities. In today's interconnected world, bilingualism is an asset sought after by employers in various industries. Learning a foreign language at an early age will provide our students with a competitive edge in the job market, increasing their employability and enhancing their earning potential. To that end, Madam Speaker, Mr. Speaker, I indicate that Spanish must be taught to all Jamaican children, Madam Speaker, and in light of the global village that the world has become, I also recommend that Mandarin, which is the second most widely spoken language globally, also be taught to our students across Jamaica. To that end, I am actively working on a proposal in conjunction with Ambassador Chen and his team at the Embassy of China to explore bringing more Mandarin teachers to Jamaican primary and high schools. Madam Speaker, just last month, I assigned my special advisor, Zane Hall, at the Ministry to participate in a comprehensive work-study program in China. The primary focus was to deepen our understanding of the language and culture while engaging with a diverse range of stakeholders, including educators and government officials. This strategic effort, Mr. Speaker, is geared towards refining and fortifying the feasibility of our proposal to engage Mandarin teachers in Jamaica. Madam Speaker, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade, in which I am proud to serve under the leadership of Senator the Honourable Kamina Johnson-Smith, has been integral to many of the programs and projects that have been implemented by other ministries, departments and agencies, and which directly impact the daily lives of my constituents in East Central and across Jamaica. I speak in particular of the various infrastructure development projects, the capacity building programs, the sharing of knowledge and best practices, as well as the cultural exchange programs, many of which have been successfully implemented because of the direct outreach done by this ministry and resultant of the bilateral and multilateral trade agreements in which the Ministry successfully negotiated on behalf of the government and people of Jamaica. Mr. Speaker, I could mention briefly the registration portal, which we have implemented, the economic development program, Mr. Speaker, as well as various areas of our global diaspora policy, which includes the establishment of the Global Jamaica Diaspora Council, the Global Jamaica Diaspora Youth Council, and the regional conferences which we continue to hold. Mr. Speaker, in light of the time, I might only indicate at this point that come next year, we look forward to the staging of the 10th Biennial Jamaica Diaspora Conference, which is scheduled for June 2024. This flagship event brings the entire Jamaican family at home and abroad, including public-private partners, civil society, second and third and fourth generation Jamaicans residing overseas, and friends of Jamaica into conversation. It is anticipated that the momentum derived from these processes will drive inclusive and sustained growth, development, and prosperity. In closing, Mr. Speaker, let our shared vision for the future be one of more economic growth, development, and prosperity. As we reflect on the achievements, initiatives, and commitments outlined today, it becomes clear that our shared dedication to the well-being of our constituents and our community is unwavering. Together, we can overcome challenges, create opportunities, and strive for a brighter and more peaceful Jamaica. Let us remain steadfast in our pursuit of a future where education, infrastructure development, and economic opportunities are accessible to all, and where the power of dialogue, understanding prevails over violence. Like the constituency of St. Catherine East Central, every single Jamaican from the hills and valleys, our urban centres and rural towns, will enjoy the prosperity that we continue to create. While others who by their thoughts...
Member, time has expired.
This is concluding, thank you, my lady.
Pardon me?
This is the concluding, thank you, Madam Speaker. This is the concluding, thank you, Madam. It's the concluding line, Madam Speaker.
One line, member, yes. One single line.
This is the time for unprecedented economic growth, development, and prosperity. And as a people, we will not change course. Thank you.
Madam Speaker.
House Leader. Hold on a minute. Hold on. Turn on again, House Leader. House Leader, please turn on your mic.
Madam Speaker, we had 3 excellent presentations today, and I really want to applaud the members and to indicate that I now ask that the debate be suspended until tomorrow, when we will have a presentation from Mr. George Wright, Member of Parliament, Westmoreland Central.
The question is that the state of constituency debate be suspended. Those in favour? Those in favour? Those against? The ayes have it.
Madam Speaker, I now ask for the recommittal of the agenda items in the standard order. Thank you.
Thank you, House Leader. The question is that we now recommit the items on the agenda, commencing from statement by ministers. Those in favour? Those against? The ayes have it. Statement by ministers. The only statement on the agenda today is from Honourable Robert Nesta Morgan, MP, Minister without portfolio in the office of the Prime Minister.
I have some money for you. Thank you very much. Their copies were distributed to the Parliament, they will be distributed to the Parliament. Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Come on. Madam Speaker, I rise today to present an update on my portfolio under the purview as the Minister without portfolio with responsibility for information in the Office of the Prime Minister. This portfolio encompasses critical government agencies to include the Jamaica Information Service, the Public Broadcasting Corporation of Jamaica, the ATI Unit, and the Jamaica Archives and Records Department. Madam Speaker, the Jamaica Information Service stands as a stalwart of accurate and timely information. The agency's commitment to dissemination information based on the government's strategic priorities is evident in its comprehensive content production. Madam Speaker, it is commendable that the agency has met 78% of its performance targets as of September 30, 2023, and that attests to the continued efforts to boost efficiency. We recently launched a new website, gis.gov.jm, in September of this year, which is a strategic move towards modernity and accessibility. This platform, with the initiation of the fact-checking website, factcheckja.com, positions JIS as a vigilant guardian against misinformation and disinformation, a role increasingly pivotal in the contemporary media landscape. Madam Speaker, the expansion of the agency's reach through the establishment of a dedicated social media department reflects clear strategic foresight. This expansion, covering a myriad of platforms such as Facebook, X, formerly known as Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn, signifies a dynamic approach to engagement. The impressive outreach of over 16 million online users between April and September this year is a testament to the agency's adeptness in leveraging diverse platforms. The impending launch of an online radio option, as well as a main channel to transmit government events in real time, and the establishment of a regional office in St. Thomas are not mere operational expansions, but strategic moves to address localized information needs and to solidify the agency's presence. Madam Speaker, the St. Thomas office of GIS is very important. We have an office in St. James, we have an office in Kingston, and now we'll have an office also in St. Thomas. Right. St. Thomas is on a growth path. And it's very important that the government's information systems also cater to those areas. Not only are we building out an office in St. Thomas, but I don't know if many of my colleagues will remember, GIS used to drive around and have public education events in communities. Well, I will say to you that we are beginning again to procure vehicles for that purpose. In this budget year, we are purchasing a sound vehicle to do that exact thing, to go into communities once again, to have conversations with the people in the communities. I want to announce as well that under our leadership, quality management is embedded in the GIS with our renewal of our ISO certification in September 2023 after a rigorous audit by the National Certification Body of Jamaica. We have also started an internship program for persons who are interested in journalism. We started this in October of this year, where young persons can engage with the Jamaica Information Service as interns to learn. GIS has a rich history. It has one of the largest archives of historical materials. A lot of our well-known journalists came through the Jamaica Information Service. And I want to say credit to both to governments across the aisle. Oh yes, since the 70s, let's say since the 80s, credit to governments. We have seen a constant building out of the Jamaica Information Service. Madam Speaker, I want to go now to what is of interest to a lot of civil society groups, which is the Access to Information Unit. the unit is undertaking pivotal initiatives to elevate its services. There's a upgrade taking place currently of the ATI website, as well as aligning it to modern accessibility standards. The vision is to create a website through which all ATI requests can be submitted and tracked. This site is to be a precursor to the ATI Act, which is now before the Attorney General's Department. Now, the Access to Information Act, there was a joint select committee, I think, started by Minister Granger, I believe, in 2010, 2011. And since that time, the law has not been upgraded. Well, I've been given the unenviable task by Prime Minister of upgrading the Access to Information Act, which is a part of our commitments under the Open Government program. One of the areas that is of interest that I want to report on as well, and because a lot of people don't see it, Minister Grange, they don't realize the importance of it, and that's the Archives and Records Department. It's the repository. It's the repository of our historical data or important documents. Madam Speaker, under the Government Records and Information Management Program, the initiation of RIM systems in 58 public sector bodies is a move that we have made to standardize management of official records, ensuring comprehensive documentation of government activities and decisions. The Archives and Records Department responding to 369 requests by providing research support and digitization of 19,169 sets of records during the period is a testament to the dedication to preserving our national heritage. In collaboration with our newly minted minister, Dr. Dana Morris-Dixon, we are forming the G-Data Task Force. What is the G-Data Task Force? The G-Data Task Force is a task force that is being empaneled with contributions from public sector bodies as well as private sector bodies to create purpose-built archives and records facilities in order to protect our data. With the passage of the National Archives and Records Management NAMA bill, which is currently at bill stage but not yet tabled because it has to go to AG and then to Cabinet, we'll have an overarching policy framework to guide record keeping and all archival practices within government. The other area I want to update you on is the Broadcasting Commission of Jamaica. Madam Speaker, as Jamaica advances its adjustment to an increasingly digital world, the role of regulatory bodies must evolve from solely observing and sanctions to research, development, and national advocacy. I'm pleased to advise that the latter has been the position of the BCJ over the past several years. I would like to outline some of the important strategic priorities for the next 5 years. Digital Media Information Literacy Skills Framework. This is in support of the government vision for making Jamaica a digital society. The Broadcasting Commission developed and submitted to the Office of the Prime Minister a Digital Media and Information Literacy Skills Framework. This framework consists of a digital competency model, national baseline benchmarking data, and implementation mechanisms. I'd also like to mention Digital Switchover or Next Gen TV. In execution of its responsibilities for project management and lead on the DSO Regulatory and Technical Committee, the Broadcasting Commission participated in bi-weekly collaborative planning meetings with ATSC Committee, organized capacity building workshops on the technical capabilities of ATSC 3.0, as well as its use for distance education, emergency messaging, and security representation. Artificial intelligence. The BCJ was a leading organization partner for the Artificial Intelligence for Information Accessibility Annual Global Conference on September 28th to commemorate the International Day for Universal Access to Information. In its 14th year, this event attracted 942 registered participants, an increase of 200% over the previous years. I want to step away from the text to mention the opportunities and risk that artificial intelligence plays in our society. The government has been very proactive by assembling a task force to look at the opportunities for access for artificial intelligence as well as the risks. This grouping or task force comprises a multi-stakeholder grouping. It comprises private sector experts. It comprises persons from various agencies within the government. And within another 3 or 4 months, they'll be submitting to Cabinet recommendations, not only for a regulatory framework for artificial intelligence, but what are some of the opportunities. And this initiative is being led by Minister Dana Morris-Dixon in strong collaboration with the Broadcasting Commission. I also want to commend the Broadcasting Commission for its digital literacy initiatives, where it goes into schools and it has advertisements on television to educate young people about digital literacy. Madam Speaker, the consolidation of government communication to effect a more robust and responsive state apparatus is a key objective of the Prime Minister. The vision is a 360-degree information and communications machinery that works together as one entity with various departments and units executing major functions. It's joined up or cursive media instead of blocks and script that has defined the state landscape. One of the major components of a consolidation of government communications is the fast tracking of the transfer of Cool FM. Details are currently being worked out as an MOU is to be signed between Aerotel and the Office of the Prime Minister as we ensure the proper and transparent transfer of assets and people. We're currently renovating a space at the Public Broadcasting Corporation, and procurement is now taking place to acquire equipment to totally retool and modernize Cool FM. We anticipate that a physical move should be completed by the end of the financial year. I want to assure the public that it's not the intention of the government to interfere with the DNA of Cool FM. There are many persons who have made calls to me when they heard that Cool FM was to be brought under the government communication wing, that the government was going to stop Cool from playing the music that it used to play and the real engaging type of entertainment that it has. That is not our intention. Our intention is to maintain the DNA of Cool. Cool has approximately 6% of the listening market, and we do not want to lose that. There is also going to be increased engagement with stakeholders for digital switchover. This process has started and it continues in earnest, but I'm pleased to announce that testing of digital DSO ATSC 3.0 has commenced by various broadcasters, TVJ being lead in the ATSC 3.0 switch, where they have turned on approximately 2 antennas, and they are planning to install one of their next generation television stations at the Office of the Prime Minister for persons to look at and examine. The Spectrum Management Authority has also been working to determine what spectrum should be given to broadcasters for digital switchover. Madam Speaker, this administration has accomplished unprecedented levels of development and social change for the Jamaican people. Yes. However, we live in a world where there are no more gatekeepers to information, and persons with ill intent are able to manufacture lies that look like truths and to thwart factual information.
Minister's time for speaking has expired.
Madam Speaker, I ask that the Minister be given sufficient time to complete his presentation, which will be in about 5 minutes, less than 5 minutes. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Members, the question is that the Minister be allowed no more than 5 minutes to complete his presentation. Those in favour? Those against? The ayes have it. Turn your mic on, please.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. I won't be as long. As I said before, the Holness-led administration has accomplished unprecedented levels of development and social change for the Jamaican people. However, we live in a world where there are no more gatekeepers to information, and persons with ill intent are able to manufacture lies that look like truths and to thwart factual data with colorful propaganda and misinformation. Recognizing this, the Cabinet decided to increase its efforts to support communications and public relations department through government, ministries, agencies and departments through increased engagement, increased training and providing a collaborative environment for information sharing and strategic direction. To that end, we met and trained government and public relations managers from all ministries and from select departments and agencies in September. We also met with permanent secretaries and heads of agencies to advise on the need to support new methods of public relations and information sharing. The implementation of improvements identified through these consultations will ensure that the government of Jamaica can create a robust, responsive and innovative communications infrastructure, fostering transparency and public engagement and trust. Madam Speaker, we recognize the risk that the government faces through misinformation and disinformation. Madam Speaker, I commit to you as the Minister with responsibility for information that though they may lie, they will not succeed. Though they may seek to mislead, they will not succeed. The Cabinet that I am a part of, the Prime Minister and the entire government is committed to ensuring that people in Jamaica have factual information to make decisions. Madam Speaker, as we move forward as a developing country in an increasingly digital age and an interconnected world, I am guided by several proofs all around us that we are a people capable and strong. While we must continue to work hard to equip and outfit our people and agencies respectively, we are being led by the correct vision to thrive now and in the future. And the last thing I want to say, Madam Speaker, is this. I have been Minister with responsibility for information for a little over a year. Over that time, under the leadership of Prime Minister Andrew Holness, we have seen significant activity taking place in the government's information ecosystem and infrastructure. The government is committed to investing to modernize our information system and infrastructure. As a government that does not invest in information, to bring people on board so we can situate the gains of the government at the feet of the people who ask for it, will not be a government that is successful. A big part of democracy is communication and engaging with the public, and this government fully commits to that ethos. Thank you very much, Madam Speaker.
Thank you very much.
The member from St. Andrew Southwest.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I am on my feet because I want to make a comment and to also ask a question of the Minister. Minister, I was pleased to hear you speak about this age of misinformation, disinformation, this digital era in which we are embarking, and some of the challenges there. I had an opportunity to look at the Cybercrime Act and also to look on how it treats some aspects of cyberbullying and the fact that we, like many other countries, by the way, seem not to understand the importance of damage to reputation in this era of fake news and deep fake news, not just fake, but deep fake. I also, Madam Speaker, am rising because I was in this very house when one of our members on that side actually thanked some of the bloggers online who are well reputed and known to be deep fakers, to produce information that is deep fake. And so as the minister spoke, I was tempted to believe him. No, I was tempted to believe him. But I wanted to ask, Minister, what you are doing to make sure that certainly here we lead by example, and secondly, that Jamaicans wherever they are, whether they are in public service, in private life, that they can count on an act that could protect them.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. And before I answer your question, I want to congratulate the head of our Broadcasting Commission, Cordell Green, who has now been elected as Vice President to a very important UNESCO committee. I think he was re-elected this year. It's a committee that deals with the whole issue of artificial intelligence and information literacy. And I just think that whenever a Jamaican reaches a level of international recognition and confidence, it is something that we as a parliament and as a people should be proud of. As you would probably know, member, the Cybercrimes Act is currently under review. The police would have made their submissions, the office of the DPP would have made their submissions as to how we can improve the law to deal with the issue of misinformation and also reputational harm caused by persons online. I wish you would not have gone to the last part of your question, though, because there are many persons online who, on both sides of the aisle, defend their political views. We are a country, based on our Constitution, that recognizes the importance of free speech. Though we do not accept or recognize lies and reputational damage, we hold very dear the importance of persons to go online and speak freely about their political persuasion. Just as you have made comments, allow me to finish. I want to finish. Okay.
Madam Speaker, he's going down the wrong line in terms of misunderstanding what I spoke about. I wasn't speaking about people's political views at all. There's nothing in what I said was about that. I'm talking about members here who would have called out names of individuals who are known to make personal attacks and to create fake information and disinformation about individuals, not about their political affiliation nor their political views.
The reason why I wished you did not go there is because I do not want to go there. Because I have pictures with bloggers who have said some very nasty things about members on this side with the opposition leader. I do not want to go there. It happens on both sides of the political spectrum. And I'm saying to you that to single out us is disingenuous because you need to fix your shop too. The point I'm making is this. We are not supporting the damage to anybody's reputation, and no member on this side would ever countenance anyone going online and supporting. But we cannot control what everybody says online, which is why a proper framework legislatively and from a positive policy perspective, which includes literacy, which includes sanction for defamation, which includes making it easier for people to get remedy through the Cybercrimes Act whenever they feel offended by a particular action. That is how you run a government, not by making subjective comments and trying to call out individuals when you yourself is also guilty of similar actions. Thank you.
Announcements. Members. Members, just to ensure that there is continued appreciation and understanding, I am going to reiterate a statement made on the 7th of November, 2023, in respect of my ruling on reports submitted by the Integrity Commission. Reports of the Director of Investigation submitted under Section 54(4) will be tabled as soon as possible after receipt by the Parliament, having regard to the serious nature of the matters that are contained therein. It will be requiring immediate and direct attention of the House. After it is tabled, it will then be submitted to the Integrity Commission Oversight Committee for their consideration and report. I was very clear, though persons have sought to distort the statement made. Now, on the announcement, the clerk will table 4 such reports that are considered to be tabled in the shortest possible time, having been received last Wednesday of the week prior. Clerk.
Laid on the table of the House today are copies of investigation reports dated September 2023, submitted by the Integrity Commission into concerns that 1. Mr. Sidney Brown, Terminal Technician at Petrojam. 2. Mr. Wayne Salmon, Customer Service Representative at Petrojam. 3. Mr. Michael Wilkinson, Process Engineer at Petrojam, and Ms. Cheryl Blair, Administrative Assistant at Petrojam, failed to file their statutory declarations with the Commission for the period 2019, along with their indicative rulings. Also laid on the table of the House today are the following: the Jamaica Gazette Supplement, Proclamations, Rules and Regulations 2727 and 2731, Volume 146, dated Thursday, November 23, 2023, numbers 341 and 342 respectively. Proclamations number 22 and 23 respectively for the year 2023 under the Constitution of Jamaica. The Jamaica Gazette Supplement, Proclamations, Rules and Regulations 2735, Volume 146, dated Thursday, November 23, 2023, number 343, enclosing the Emergency Powers, Parishes of Clarendon and St. Catherine Regulations 2023 under the Emergency Powers Act, and the Jamaica Gazette Supplement, Proclamations, Rules and Regulations 2775, Volume 146, dated Thursday, November 23, 2023, number 344, enclosing the Emergency Powers.
Members, I cannot hear the clerk and she's right in front of me. Please allow the clerk to speak in silence. Members.
The last item is the Jamaica...
Member on your feet, I can hear you.
The Jamaica Gazette Supplement, Proclamations, Rules and Regulations 2775, Volume 146, dated Thursday, November 23, 2023, number 344, enclosed in the Emergency Powers, Parishes of St. James and Hanover, number 2 Regulations 2023 under the Emergency Powers Act.
Thank you. Bills brought from the Senate, petitions, papers, reports from committees, notices of motions given orally, questions and answers to questions, motions that may be made at the commencement of public business requiring notice, motions relating to sitting of the House. Copies of the reports, once tabled, would be uploaded on the parliamentary website and would also be shared with the members. Hard copies are available here as well. My copy is here. You may borrow it. The only copies that would exist at this time, hard copy, would be that of myself, the clerk, and the President of the Senate. After tabling, you may share. Motions for leave to introduce bills, presentation of bills without leave of the House, first obtained. Public business was already done. House Leader.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. We had a very fruitful day, very productive day, great presentations. And at this time, it is not contemplated for us to do any further business today. I therefore ask that the House adjourns until tomorrow, Wednesday, November 29, 2023, at 2 p.m., Madam Speaker, and I ask that the members be here on time and to turn out in their numbers. Thank you.
Thank you, House Leader. Members, I am hoping you heard the House Leader correctly. There will be Parliament tomorrow, Wednesday, November 29, 2023, at 2 p.m. sharp. Members are required to turn out in their numbers. Those who are in favor of the adjournment for tomorrow, those who are in favor, those who are against, would you like to have a divide? The member, are you joking or are you calling for a divide? Okay. The ayes have it, members. The ayes have it. This Honourable House now stands adjourned.
You'll always remember that day you became a parent. That day, you made yourself a promise to provide for them, to protect them, laugh with them, watch them learn, and let them grow. That day, you realized your biggest challenge lies in bringing them up in a world full of choices. That day you knew they would grow up fast, and the innocence you cherish wouldn't last. That day you made up your mind that no matter how things change, you would always take the time to give them parental guidance. That day is today.
Remember, parental controls are available for all devices. A reminder from the Broadcasting Commission.
Come on, I'll help you unpack. Girls, who needs them? Right, guys? Right, guys? Right, you. Who needs them?
Oh, even if they are gorgeous.
So, you want to play swamp ball? Not now, Toot.
It's too hot.
Then, do you want to go